Is that Kenmore 158 750. This is a high shank machine, and at some point the presser foot lifter got real loose, and because I got the high foot on here, and I'm lifting the presser foot lever almost an inch, and then it is only raising the presser foot like a quarter of an inch, so I'm gonna have to move that at some point. But this is a pop-off lid. This machine also has a cam door and is a side-loading zigzag, so it's got a lovely set of lock nuts here, and very stylish stitch regulator. This also has the feature of oiling spots marked in the top. So we'll take a look and do our quick maintenance on this, and then adjust the presser foot. Red dots on a few of the spots to oil on this machine, and then just the regular oil holes that you're used to finding across the top of these. But again, the rule for every machine is to simply rotate it slowly and apply a drop of oil to anything that you can see moving while you're rotating the machine. So I'm going to adjust this lifter because, as you can see, it doesn't get very high at all, but also there is a lot of movement in this lever before it begins to lift. I've removed the lamp out of the way to get access to that. It doesn't appear there's a way to access it otherwise, so, and there are 2 screws on this lifting clamp, and when you do this you want to loosen the screws just enough to get things to start sliding. Okay. Right, and you have to hold the foot square and I let this all right. Now I need to get that to slide up again. All right. I'm holding the lift lever up about 1/4 inch to give it space, and then I squared up the foot over the thing, and now I can lightly tighten these screws and release the spring, and then we'll got a little bit of lift, and then yeah, we improved that a teeny bit. That's nicer at least. Then I'll tighten both of these down. And since the light had to come out to do this, I'll show you how to get the light back on. There's a screw with a wire guide that went on the top of the lamp. So this screw and this wire guide hold the top of the lamp bracket, and then there is a small trim screw that holds the bottom of the lamp bracket. And with both these screws in, and put our light bulb back in. Now we need to clean the feed and bobbin area on this Kenmore. 2 screws to remove the needle plate. You can see this wear. Someone's been using this with a lot of buildup, and it's rubbing through the finish on this plate. Now, looks like it's been cleaned recently, so that's good. Somebody wedged a piece of lint under this needle plate though. So especially older machines, when I don't know anything about them, I make sure and get a pick in around the edge here and clean this surface of any of these lint lumps. And then we gotta pop our race cover off. Check our hook here, which is nice and smooth and clean. The race has a little bit of buildup in it, so grab a Q-tip and wipe that out with a Q-tip with rubbing alcohol, and then that'll be ready to get oiled and reassembled. Last stop on this Model 75 is the bottom. So everywhere that moves, teeny drop of oil. And when you've got a side load machine like this, don't try the zigzag out until after you've got a chance to oil it, because there are 2 big slides here. This is a giant slide and that's a giant slide. And if you try to force your zigzag or try it out and it's not just moving freely, you want to get some oil on this, because if you force the top of the machine, it'll misalign the vertical shaft that is this little crank and moves the bobbin case back and forth. Got the parts cleaner running, but last thing on this was that the clutch nut wasn't releasing, so got the hand wheel off and it's all sticky, so we'll have to clean that up and clean this shaft up so that it can release. And this bobbin tire is rock hard, so we'll get a fresh bobbin tire on this machine as well. Done this a few times before on a variety of machines, but with the shaft cleaned and the hand wheel clean, slips right on there. This hand wheel has an oil hole in the top that lines up with a band on the shaft to provide a spot for oil to get down in there. So we'll put some more oil in there and set our washer in place with the tabs facing out, so inside tabs, outside ears. And when we get our nut on, I'm watching the ear that was right here, and it tightened just past that ear, so I need to take the nut off, rotate this washer, and then the ear is over here, tightens here, and then it'll loosen back to, it'll have room to loosen against. So tightened, and then it loosens almost a third of a turn to provide space there. All right. Oh, and I unplugged this. There. That all clean, and now the clutch actually loosens and the bobbin winder puts enough side pressure on to drive the machine, but I think that when we get our hook and everything in, that will provide enough friction to solve that issue. Pop our hook back in, and this race has a pair of pins that it slips onto, this cover. There. There's a pair of pins, and then the locking springs hold that in place. Get our fresh oil in the top and bottom of the race so that when it rotates, it spreads oil around the edge of the hook.